All right, family. We black again. You already know what time it is. We got some fire for you today. We're going to be talking about the great goddess Seshat, the African Egyptian goddess of writing, literature, architecture, astronomy. I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on. And so a lot of people don't know about Seshat, but she is the feminine aspect of the great god Tahuti. You see, the great god Tahuti. And so in the ancient scriptures, Shishak was the inventor of writing. That makes sense, don't it? It make a whole lot of sense. Who taught you your numbers, nigga? Who taught you first? Your mama. You see, your mama taught you first. That's how it go. Talking to you while you on, while you breastfeed, nigga. That's what happened. That's how it happened. Teaching you your name, giving you some mother wit. That's what they call mother wit, mother wisdom. Okay, the mother tongue. That's why they tell you, that's showing you that language come from the mother. You see, come from the mother. And so here it is. And you don't find this, because they didn't have no books. You ain't going motherfucker talking about they had a god. What did you write? They say Hermes was the god of writing. Yeah. When did he become the god of writing? Because if it was before they came into Egypt, they lying like hell because they wasn't writing. They didn't have no alphabet. And so this is very powerful. Now this sister Seshat, she got a star on her head. A lot of people, say that it might be serious. It might be serious, but you see again that our chakras, our physical chakras are aligned to the astronomical chakras, aligned to the earthly chakra. So you got to be in alignment with all of this. Let me get this in here. Now, the one thing that's very extraordinary is that she wears the leopard skin. You see her with the leopard skin. And that's the brotherhood off top. You see, when you see the leopard skin, you talking about priesthood. You see that you talking about, you talking about the succession of royalty. You see, so that means you can't become a priest. You can't even sit on the throne unless you come through the black woman. That's just all that it is. You see, that's showing you something. That leopard skin is very profound in the brotherhood. That you see the brothers that have obtained a certain level and degree in the brotherhood had obtained the leopard skin. You see the sim priest, the high priest, had reached that level. You had to be a chief or a king. You had to be of high rank. And so that show you right there. And that's why many of them Europeans will deny any entrance into the sacred institutions of the Nile Valley, because that was the number one requirement. The second requirement was your father. You see, but the woman come first. Who your mama? That's going to, and then who your daddy? You see, that's how that go. You understand? So we want to know you are the soil. They know that. You see, writing is scribal knowledge. Writing is this is so you see her right there with the pen. So that show you at a very early date that the sisters were profound in education, in advancement of mathematics, knowledge, in astronomy, and all of that. Before Egypt even started. We're not talking about, you cannot find that nowhere on the planet. So from the masculine and feminine energy, that's what I'm saying. On both ends, have you ever seen from the feminine, the masculine? Yeah, so many people achieve Christ consciousness to the point where you got mind-blowing advancement all over Africa. You see, that can't be explained. God damn it, aliens. They want to say aliens brought it. You see, that's how advanced it was. And so she's also the goddess of time. You know, where you got these gods of time like Kronos and Saturn and all that. You know, Father Time. Well, she was the goddess. You know, the record keeper. You know, when the time come and you go down there to my you see what I'm saying? And when you go down there to the hall of my and you got the judge, the great God Osar sitting on his throne, Sister Seshat gonna pull up and she gonna drop that file on your ass. You know how they keep a file? See, this is ancient. She gonna pull that file up, hit the file on the nigga. Yeah. This what he was doing. Yeah, you ain't getting away, yo. She keep your record. She's the record keeper and archive everything that's in the universe. You know what I'm saying? People call it the Akashic records. Well, goddamn it, she's the one that keep the Akashic records. Okay, she was the goddess of mathematics and accounting. You know, accounting. So and I think that saying the sisters today got more business degrees than anybody in the United States. Got more businesses. So they say mathematics and accounting. You see, mathematics and accounting. This got to be said. You don't find this nowhere else on the planet. I'm highlighting what you cannot find in every aspect of greatness about a civilization. You see, and there's nowhere on the planet where you can show where women, but we speaking directly of our own now, we not speak, but just to show no other culture. You don't hear about no Greeks, no woman or no Romans. You don't hear what woman you hear about in Sumeria. What woman you hear, you know, even in India. What great woman that can compare to the goddesses, not the empresses. Name me one great empress. Shit, the greatest, as far as a Greek, was Cleopatra, and she was in Egypt. Shit, even there, they jump off was in Egypt. You don't know no woman, no queen that come out of Greece or Rome or nowhere. You don't know her none, because it ain't none. So they never obtained because the men were ignorant. The woman was ignorant. The men were ignorant. They was barbarians. You see, and until they got some enlightenment by way of Egypt, and it was bare minimum. They didn't come into Egypt. They had no access to the higher knowledge of Egypt. They got ABCs. They gave them enough so they could take an alphabet and put their language to a goddamn alphabet. So they gave them a little bit so that because other than that, you don't want that kind of savage running around the continents. So they gave them enough so that they wouldn't be bare savages and shit. So they gave them a little alphabet and showed them how to put a door on the hut and shit. And you know what I'm saying? Show them how to put a shoe on their goddamn feet and shit like that. But that's it. They didn't get the high mathematics. And so Seshat was also the goddess of astronomy and surveying. So when they go out there and survey the land, when they getting ready to build a building, they got something what they call it the stretching of the cord. And the stretching of the cord is where they make the measurements for the foundation. And so she was sacred to that ceremony, the stretching of the cord. So even in masonry, you see, even in masonry. So these niggas talking about, where masonry started. Shit. If you in any form of masonry out there, and you call yourself a mason and you don't know a Seshat, nigga, you in some clandestine European shit. You see, because if you are African Mason, it's a must that you know the goddess Seshat, who is the goddess the stretching of the cord. Okay, that's when you making measurements for your foundation. You got to any pyramid, any temple, before you get started, you got to pour out libations to the African goddess, Egyptian Kushite goddess Seshat. That's what you got to do. Wait a minute. Let me keep him. Let me get the rest of this information up here. Let me get the rest of this information up here. Okay, and so she's also okay. Now I understand the 7-point star emblem up there. Some people got their own understanding of what it could be. We know that the major stars, and Sirius was one of the great stars that was highly honored by the ancient Egyptians and the Kushites. And so, many times she's looked at as the wife of Tahuti. You see, sometimes shown to be his daughter, depending on where you're at in Egypt. And she was also highly connected to Ma'at. They were almost, interchangeable, but it seemed where, you got order, and order is mathematics. There's no doubt. It's really some of the same thing, but I think where Seshat is where you dealing with that literature. She's dealing with that language. You see what I'm saying? My eye is still astronomy, because the order is the order of all things. Order the astronomy, the stars, the constellations, the planets, the earth. That's an order. So even there is still mathematics and science, you see. But for the brothers out there, the fact of the stretching of the cord and the fact that she got that leopard skin on, that just proves a lot of, who established, masonry. Now today, a woman cannot be a mason. And in the brotherhood in ancient times, she couldn't be a brother because it was for men, but they understood that their mamas was the one that set them on the path to have the knowledge that they had. So yeah, it's a time where man got to go to himself. You know what I'm saying? But they always had these symbols that mama was the one that laid the path. And you didn't, but these motherfuckers today, they totally in some homosexual, masculine, energy where they don't even bring up no woman. You see what I'm saying? And so that's that Western shit. Now you got some brothers out there, they saying that they changing it up. And they need to change it up and bring back balance, and to the brotherhood. But this is a powerful, powerful goddess, and she right there with Tahuti. You know what I'm saying? So with Tahuti and Seshat, man, you got a hell of a line of Ma'at. You got to put all three of them there together. Seshat, Ma'at, and Tahuti, and you got the greatest trinity of ancient knowledge deities on the planet Earth. And if you want to add Imhotep and you got all you need. You understand? For a divine lineup for cosmic wisdom, knowledge, you can't beat that. You feel what I'm saying? Make sure y'all get over there to Patreon, click that link at the top of the chat, and do some research. Go behind me and take some time and do some research on this powerful goddess, African goddess, Seshat. I'll see y'all in a minute, family. Black power.